Hey guys, welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page. Make sure you drop a comment, like, subscribe.
Do all the fun things.
Follow
everything. We're here to entertain you guys.
What are you waiting for? Hurry up, let's go.
Enjoy. Adam.
What's up, Dax?
It's so weird having you next to me.
It's fun, right?
No.
No, okay. Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. We are in LA. We're both here. It's beautiful weather here in LA right now. I've seen a lot in my time in LA. Here's the thing. I'm a journalist in New York, but I'm here in LA. I've never worked. I've been to LA plenty of times.
Yeah.
I lived out here for a small time, but I've never worked out here and ran around with my camera, so it's a whole different dynamic. So I've been running around, meeting a lot of celebrities, but it's a special podcast today because we have, we like to say in this podcast, how would you describe this podcast?
Well, I would say, you know my favorite thing is we say we humanize. I don't know, is that word overdone at this point?
No, it's
Because
not.
Everyone talks about, we want to humanize, but I feel like that is actually what we do. We humanize celebrities, we humanize paparazzi, we humanize the media moguls because we kind of get everyone on here and get their perspective on Hollywood in general, but we're not just going for the typical, like, tell me about your movie. You know, we're bringing people on to talk about what it's really like to work on the movie, how they got the movie, what the craft services table is like at the movie. Like we want to know everything.
I want to be able to close my eyes and envision what it's like. I want to go through these people's shoes because a lot of these people have a cool life. But again, we've had celebrities on the show. We've had the people that make the people famous. We've had the bodyguards. We've had autograph collectors, these professional autograph collectors who monetize these celebrities. But like one of my favorite people to have on the show is other journalists. Some might call them paparazzi. You could probably call them that, but I don't think I call them journalists because they journalize some of the biggest.
You call them street.
I call them. Well, yeah, I came up with the word street journalists, and then now we have these other guys walking around using the title. But this guy today is a journalist. He's one of the. I'm excited for this person to come on this podcast. My friend Jesse Rowe is coming on the podcast. Jesse is a guy who I met when we worked at
what do you mean? TMZ?
Okay, we worked at TMZ together. That's where we met. But Jesse,
you say it as if like you don't want to say it. Like it's TMZ. We all worked there.
Okay, yes.
For many years.
We did. But Jesse was, the guy's done it for more than a decade, and I'm really excited to talk to him because I love being on the phone and talking to, like, me and Jesse talk on the phone. We could talk for hours about the job because nobody understands what we do. And, we have these conversations. I want to hear their point of view, their experiences. He wants to hear my experiences. And I think people, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think people love hearing these stories.
People love the Pap stories. I think these are our most talked about episodes because it's a little glimpse inside of either what celebs are like, how they treat people. I think this is the big thing. You find out how celebs treat people because, I think paparazzi get a bad rap in general. I think that's the narrative that America likes to play.
Sure.
However, those photos, those videos, America also loves to consume.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, on a lot of TV, a lot of podcasts too, you hear reporters reporting about what happened. To be honest with you, in my opinion, they're just puppets. They weren't there. They're just reading what they read off Google. These are people that are actually breaking the stories, that were there at the scene of the crime, that were there in the courtroom. And Jesse's got tons of stories about working these court cases, some of the biggest celebrity news court cases over the years. What's up, Jesse?
What's up, Adam?
How are you? Good. I'm good, man. Thanks for
I'm
coming
here
on
too.
the
Oh, hey, Dax, how are you? Yeah. How's it going?
Jesse
Good,
is.
I've actually known Dax longer than you. I maybe not as well, but I met him before you. So
That is
not an
true.
issue,
We
yeah.
Many moons ago
Yeah.
in TMZ.
2008.
2008 is when you started?
October 2008.
So I worked in New York. You guys were both in LA.
Yep.
Dax worked in the newsroom. Jesse was in the field. And Jesse's been doing this longer than I have. Jesse started before me. So Jesse is an OG when it comes to street journalism, paparazzi, whatever you want to call
I'm a
it.
grizzled veteran.
So I have a lot of questions to get to you because, I always want to have, a lot of journalists, a lot of, again, are you offended by the word paparazzi?
No, I don't think I saw myself as that just because we had a different approach.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, we had a different approach. So I don't think we really saw ourselves as that. But we did work in that, it's inescapable.
Yeah.
Wait, and are you still an active paparazzi
No,
cameraman?
I was
street journalist. What?
As of end of August, I'm done. I might. I don't know, but as of right now, no, I'm not.
He's joining the retirement, the little
Yeah,
hiatus, the
yeah.
break.
Okay.
You know, he might do
It was
a top
13
break
years. I
comeback.
needed a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
What are you doing right now then?
I'm working in investigation, actually, which is my father has a law firm, and he was a private investigator for 20 years. So I've been doing that. I'm doing like investigating.
Which is kind of funny because honestly, it ties into
It does.
paparazzi a little bit because when you're out there, you are an investigator.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, someone's inside this building, and I need to figure out how they're getting out. What the tricks are to sneaking someone out.
The skill
figure it
set
out.
is very transferable, and I think it's made it a lot easier to be able to do it, just because you have to learn how to ask people the right questions in order to get the answer that you're looking for, and that's something I wouldn't have known without like all the experience of just conversations with celebrities or just conversations with people just trying to get the information that I'm looking for.
So it's funny because a lot of paparazzi are no longer doing it. There's not as many, at least in New York. I don't know about LA, but there's not as many.
The pandemic just
Pandemic
killed a lot of the paparazzi.
The
work.
pandemic killed it, but then also the industry's changed where Instagram, social media, their photos are not really as valued as much. Or, it's hard to make $1. So a lot of guys transitioned, and I know a lot of it's paparazzi or journalists are now working for investigators, and I know Jesse's doing that now. But I want to start with this: How'd you end up getting the job?
Yeah, so I was 22 at the time, or maybe I just turned 23, and I needed to move out of my parents' house, to be honest. And a friend of mine worked at TMZ for like 2 weeks, and he told me, I was looking for a job, and he's like, I could introduce you to somebody, and maybe they're, at TMZ, maybe they could give you a job. And I knew it was being a pap.
Who was that person?
It was Zach Hudson.
Zach. I mean, the name sounds a little familiar. But
He's a buddy of mine. He was there for like 2 weeks.
And that's it?
Yeah, and he
literally got you the job, and then he was gone.
But he knew Diana, who was the supervisor for the camera department at the time, and he introduced me. I told Adam about this. I sent my resume, quote unquote. I didn't know what a resume was. I sent like 3 paragraphs of myself through an AIM to Diana, and she called me like 2 days later. Yeah.
And
Did I
then
ever tell you that Harvey crinkled up my resume and threw it in the trash?
really,
So, sorry to
No,
cut
it's
off
okay.
your
Go for it.
story,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I haven't told this one. When I first met Harvey, he sent me out to do a red carpet, and it was kind of like literally day one, like, hey, nice to meet you. Oh, you want to do a red carpet? Sure. Sent me out to do a red carpet, and so I was like, oh, I need to get my resume together. Like, Harvey, he was doing Celebrity Justice at the time, so I knew he was like a producer in the industry, and I was kind of like, yeah, let me get my resume together. And I brought back the tape at the same time as I brought back the resume. He watched the tape, took my resume, and threw it in the trash can. He was like, I don't need this. I got the tape. So I can see that you have some kind of talent, and it was my first time, and I was totally green out on the red carpet. But it also broke my heart because I was up all night doing the resume.
Yeah.
but what a move! Like, I'm gonna rip up that resume. You got the job.
But I think it's the same. Like, he wants talent over whatever's on a resume.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of embarrassed afterwards, realizing, because she just called me. She kind of like made fun of me about it in my little interview, if you want to call it, just because it was. First of all, it was a terrible resume. But also just because that's not. They don't really care about that. I think with the camera job, it's such a unique job that like, it's the only job like it in the world.
Yeah.
Being a TMZ camera guy is the only job like it in the world. It really is. So you can't really put anything on a resume that like sets you up for it, other than you're able to have conversations and you know how to talk to people.
So how long did you get the job? I think, I had a trial period. I'm sure you had a trial period?
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first person you shot?
Oh my God. Yeah, it was who was that pop star from England? Jordan was her name? Victoria Prince? Was that her?
Yeah,
No, not Victoria Prince.
Jordan. But I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. She
The
was
blonde lady that was like a reality star.
Yeah, and her
Jordan-
husband was
Jordan
oh my God. I forget her. Yeah, yes.
Jordan
I think that was
Price.
what it was. I shot her. It was with Rory. Remember Rory?
So funny 'cause
yeah.
she wasn't ever like that.
No, but it was
huge
there was
here,
like
but she
a
was for a hot minute she was.
right. I think it was they just wanted to because there was like a bunch of paps who were like from England and LA, and that's big back there. So I think they just wanted to throw me into the fire. To be honest, I don't think it was ever going to make the show.
Yeah.
I think that the guys training me just wanted to see what I could handle. And so they just threw me in there. It was like 15 paparazzi, and I'm just getting beat up and, trying to get my questions in.
Did you feel comfortable right away, or how long did it take you to get comfortable? Because here's the crazy thing, because Dax has never done the job.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, that's why I think we bond.
I did it like twice.
You did do it twice. You did do it
I
twice.
did it outside Suge Knight's court hearing where he lost $100 million.
Yeah. And then did you get?
I thought I was gonna die.
Okay.
Because he chased me down an alley.
Yeah.
And then I did a Real Housewives when they had like the actual show,
Yeah.
like the show, not
Sure.
the reality shows. And I got like Nicolas Sheridan on set, and it was super awkward. And
Yeah.
I got kicked off the set.
Wait, didn't you have an incident with Suge Knight?
Oh yeah, I had a couple of incidents.
Oh,
with
we're
Suge
gonna
Knight.
get to that.
Yeah,
We're gonna get to that part. So right away, because it's a ballsy job to do what we do. Because here's the thing: if you're listening, we have a camera in hand. Just imagine going to some person who doesn't know you. The camera's rolling. You're like, hey, what's up? And start talking to them and trying to interview them. It takes a lot of balls to do what we do. Did you have that type of balls right away? Like, did you have the guts to
No.
do it? Or like, how long did it take you to get comfortable? And did you feel like a good person? Because that's what I struggled with. If I felt like a good person doing the job.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that was like the hardest part at first because I was a little hesitant. A friend of mine was a pap in Malibu, and I saw some like video of the artist Seal, Heidi Klum's ex-husband, was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like ripping into the paps, just saying like horrible things to
I
them.
like how you had to qualify who that was.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Seal, the guy that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
married
yeah,
to
right,
Heidi.
right, right.
Kiss from a
crazy
Rose?
I guess I could have
famous.
said "Kiss from a Rose." Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
See, that's the thing. Working for TMZ, you identify them differently than most people do.
Sure.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's Heidi Klum's husband.
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than that's the guy who did Kiss from a Rose. So I think that was my biggest issue going in was because a friend of mine was a pap, and I saw some videos of like paps getting like smeared by celebrities and being
Half
called
smeared. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I like that.
Being-
Play on words there.
I've never used that before actually, but being called scum, things like that. And I was
Sure.
like, I didn't want to do this, but I needed a job and I took it. I was like, I'll give it a chance, and I think that was the hardest part was just the public's view of you and
Yeah,
what you do.
But what's weird is it's fueled a lot by celebrities.
Yeah.
Like it's that the scum of the earth, the paparazzi. Yet those are the same people. Like, hey, by the way, I'm gonna be at Country Mart today. If you can come shoot me.
100%, and I think that's why I tried to just do it in my own way. Where I do think I'm not trying to take credit for it, but I do think TMZ shifted a little bit when they started hiring guys like me, where they were like not gonna hire the traditional paps, and they were gonna hire guys that were just nice and impressionable and had good conversations, rather than like, jumping out at somebody or following them.
Yeah.
With their kids or something. We didn't do that. That was not what we were doing, and I appreciated that. So I think that was just being associated with that. But then I started meeting a lot of these paps and developing relationships, and I think you just start to realize that they're normal people.
Yeah.
They just
So-
they have kids, and
Yeah. No, everyone's just trying to eat. So you start the job. How do you? Because I know how we do in New York, but how do you find people in LA?
it's so different from New York. 'Cause I think,
Totally different.
obviously everything's on a grid here, but I mean, it's also everything has an underground parking garage. Everything is, there's security at every door. You really just have to. The valets are your best friends in LA. They're
Yeah.
your best friends. Other paps are your best friends. It's like any other network. You just have to know the right people. But you don't go into a store and talk to somebody who works at a register.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense because they're going to text you, oh, hey, so-and-so is checking out, and you have 30 seconds to get there.
Sure.
No, you have to talk to the valet guy down the street from the store who saw a car. Hey, that might be so-and-so.
Yeah.
Well, you need a restaurant. You need someone that's
Yeah.
walking into that's
Yes.
going to sit down to a 2-hour meal so that you have time to get through LA.
Restaurants, airport is like a big part of LA.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you got a 4-hour flight
Yeah.
from New York to know that they're going to land.
So
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's why it was great, knowing people.
4-hour? How long the hell is the flight from New York?
About 5.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
4,
I don't
5,
do that
5, yeah.
So valet is a big part of it.
So the valet-
Publicist, huge. It's a huge part of it.
So the valets, do you have to tip these guys or no?
Yes, I mean, some people will give it to you for free. They'll give it, if you're cool with them. But for the most part, I mean, they're
Yeah,
not
throw
going to
them a few
risk their
bucks.
job if you're not giving them something.
Yeah.
So you said, you said that Jordan was your first. What was like your biggest get on video that maybe people would recognize or know and go, oh, that was his video?
Well, I mean, the biggest celebrity I ever shot was Brad Pitt. I mean, I'm not sure that video is like
Sure.
my biggest video, but God, I'm trying to think of like the one people would recognize me for. I mean, I was there for the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp court case when Amber came out with the bruise on the side of her face and everything.
Oh,
It was that big
yeah,
thing.
that was a big one.
So I was there
Yeah.
for that. So TMZ's video of that is mine. I can tell you my favorite, but I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. What's
I mean, the one that I love to tell is I had a tip for Nicolas Cage at Burbank Airport. and my apartment, the carpets were getting cleaned, so like my dog was home alone, so I had to take my dog with me to work. It's a little 4-pound Chihuahua. And so I decide, like, you know what, Nicolas Cage, he's never going to talk to me.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't talk to the Paps. So I decided, you know what, I'm pretty sure he likes animals, so I'm just going to take my dog with me.
Yeah.
So I walk from the car with this little 4-pound Chihuahua at Burbank Airport, and he's getting off the plane. Say, hey, what's up, Nick? I'm kind of nervous because I'm like, I respect Nicolas Cage,
Sure,
but
he's
I
an
also
actor.
know he's probably not going to be cool with me.
Yeah.
Immediately looks down at my dog. He's like, hey, nice dog. That's a great dog. I'm like, oh my God, I got him. This is great.
Yeah.
And I start asking him, oh yeah, you like Chihuahuas? Oh yeah, I love Chihuahuas. Yeah, but you know, there's a stigma for men and little Chihuahuas that they think that it's not the manliest
a
dog.
Chihuahua and a paparazzi and a male. You were really risking it all.
I know, yeah, it's true, yeah. I asked him, you know, it's kind of a girly dog, it's kind of a lap dog. There's a stigma around it. I don't really feel manly walking around. He's like, oh no, not at all. Chihuahuas are they're the pride of Mexico. And I'm like, this is the craziest conversation I've ever had in my life. And it actually gets better because I'm like, you know, you have no idea what this means to me that you like my dog. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Not many people are gonna have this experience with you. And he starts telling me, oh, I like all dogs. Have you ever heard of a toiger? He starts telling me about a toiger, which is a cat that's blended with a tiger and a cat.
Interesting.
Okay.
What the hell is Nicolas Cage telling me right now?
It's just
Yeah,
an
yeah.
exclusive shot. This is just you and him,
This
right?
is me and him, yeah. And he starts
Wow.
talking about how he, like,
You know, this would work with Mickey Rourke too.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You bring a Chihuahua out, that guy will be all over you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Dante, the other guy, camera guy Dante, got a clip with him and his Chihuahua once where he was like making jokes about. It's a whole other thing, but like kissing the dog. So they kiss
Yeah.
the dog on camera for the show. Yeah.
That's great. So when you've been doing this for a long time, you did a lot of court cases. You know, how was when you worked these court cases? Is it like it's a lot of hurry up and wait because you're hanging out for most of the day, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, you need to get this shot. Like if something goes wrong, it's kind of stressful. At least I hated doing courts, but you like doing courts because I found it to be very stressful because there could be something could go wrong. What was like? So, tell me about some of the court cases that you covered. Like you said, the Johnny Depp,
Yeah.
and Amber Heard. What else?
To your point, court is the most stressful. I liked it just because it was probably like the most news-oriented version of the job that you can do.
Yeah.
You're covering like the biggest story of the moment. So I like doing that stuff. In terms of court cases, I mean, Johnny Depp, that was the biggest one.
You do Britney?
I did. Yeah. I was there for Free Britney.
How about Lindsay?
I definitely did a couple of Lindsay Lohan court cases. Yeah.
So are you
I don't
actually
remember
in the
which one it
courtroom or are you
was.
outside?
Well, both. I shot inside courtroom. Like I would have to do media requests, so I'd have to go in, talk to the bailiff, hand in a media request, you know, authored off by whoever was in charge of that department at the time. It was kind of a revolving door of people.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I had to film inside of court. I always asked for help because I have to film inside of court, and then I have to pack up a live stream kit. I have to pack up a camera. I have to pack up my laptop, and then I have to run outside and get the person leaving and ask questions at the same time.
It's a lot.
And so I had to start asking for help. You know, like I can't do three things at once. But I still liked it. I mean, the biggest court case I covered, Johnny Depp was one of them. But in terms of like memorable, did you guys remember the Tyrese case? Like 2-3 years ago with his he was trying to get child support.
Baby mama?
Yeah.
He
I had to go there every single day, and he was like getting like really emotional about me being there. But then I kind of like developed a relationship over time, and he comes out like on the 4th day or the 5th day, and he sees me, and I guess he kind of had a bad day at court, but he does this whole thing where he had this planned like emotional outburst that he was going to have. So he gets down on the court steps and he starts like crying in front of the camera and doing all this.
Oh.
So I think that at a certain point, once somebody trusts you and they know that you're not there, you're not out to get them, then they're willing to, you know,
play ball.
Yeah, play ball with you a little bit more. And that was a big clip for me. I think that one did pretty well for us, and that doesn't happen very often. You know, especially at court, most people are just like they want to get the hell away.
Get out as
Yeah.
fast as possible.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, what people don't know is there's tunnels that lead from the courthouse to the Disney opera.
Right.
Whatever hall.
Yeah, you can park across the street and then go underneath.
You go underground,
Yeah.
and so there's a chance that they'll never see you leaving the courthouse.
Wow.
And they'll sneak you out there that way. And then there's other times where there's also like a big door, like that's where Britney pulls directly into the courthouse.
Yeah.
They close the door. It's kind of like a loading bay.
Yeah.
And then other people are like, they walk across the street and
Yeah.
park in the parking lot.
Yeah, Britney was going in through these doors, like I want to say like the second level of the Stanley Moss courthouse, which like have a security padlock and everything. There's no
How
chance.
does she get access to that?
Because she causes such a ruckus.
Yeah.
that
For safety.
them, they will open the doors, let her in because they don't want that chaos outside.
Yeah.
Got you.
Especially with all the fans that were supporting, the recent one especially, where all the fans are the Free Britney people.
So you didn't get to see Britney at all.
I saw her inside, but you're not allowed to take photos.
So you're like
Yeah.
in the courtroom with Britney.
Yeah, I was.
Is that like surreal to be in a courtroom?
It
Like
is.
as a like
Especially with such a high-profile case, and to think how many people outside would love to be inside just
Yeah.
to be that close to Britney.
Right.
Well,
They do
and-
kick media out sometimes. Like there were cases like where you're not allowed to sit inside.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
she like in person being that close? Like what was her, did she fidget? Was she like
I mean,
listening a lot, or was she zoning out? Like I'm just curious what her demeanor was in court.
I mean, I don't want to like speak out of hand about her, but I mean, I do think she's, there's definitely something going on with her where she's uncomfortable. With all the media, I think you can tell she's uncomfortable.
Well, I
with
think
all the
anyone would be
attention.
uncomfortable with all of your personal business
Yes.
on such a big display, a platform at all times.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're sitting in a courtroom full of people, and they're talking about your deepest, darkest shit.
Yeah.
Like they were revealing how much she was making and all
Right.
these like details about her life at every court. Can you fucking imagine that? Like
Dude.
you're in there, and all these people you don't know, and they're talking about your finances. And
Especially when you're already dealing
Awful.
with mental health issues, and your
Yeah.
mental health issues are public.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say this about her. Yes, you can tell she's fidgety, she's a little bit off, but also just a total pro. Like she knows what she's doing. She walks in, she waves people, goes inside.
Yeah.
She understands who she is. She's
Yeah.
very aware of it.
I think actually my second week of working, when I started, I actually it might have been my first day started when I officially got the contract.
Yeah.
When I worked, I went to a court case and Julia, she used to be with Jake Gyllenhaal from the original Spider-Man. You're a comic book guy. What's her name? The blonde one. Kirsten. I'm sorry. Kirsten
I thought you were
Dunst.
saying Julia Stiles.
Yeah, I was gonna start Julia
Yeah,
Stiles,
yeah.
but Kirsten
Yeah,
Dunst.
yeah,
Kirsten Dunst was in a court case, and she had to sit in the. She was being what's it called when you're sitting in the chair?
Deposed?
She was being deposed. Not deposed, but
She was on the stand.
she was on the stand, and to see her on the stand being questioned, like her being like she had to be brutally very honest, and I think it was about like a stolen purse or something. I could be making that. That part could be wrong. I forget what the story is about, but to see her, it was kind of surreal to see a celebrity being on the stand. Like it was just kind of like weird. You
Yeah.
know, it was. I don't know, but here's the thing with the Britney court case and all these court cases. It's a public case, so anybody could walk in the courtroom, correct, and just sit there, or how does that work?
It depends. You do need a media request for some situations. I mean, they will allow media in, but like if you don't have a request, sometimes they won't allow it. If it's like with kids or marriages, no, it's not open. It's a civil thing.
Gotcha.
But when it's like I don't know, like a drunken car accident or something like that, it's a totally different thing. That it's public interest.
So speaking of the drunken car accidents, whatever,
Yeah.
have you ever shot a celebrity coming out of jail?
Oh yeah, a bunch.
That,
Ooh.
God, I mean, I actually have to think about that. I'm trying to think of the most recent one. I mean, I know that I had to cover Kevin Hart when he got a DUI.
I remember that. Yeah.
I had to cover. I'm like genuinely trying to think about the people who have been arrested. Like, what are some of the big like, I'm genuinely blanking right now.
Yeah. Well, listen, Kevin Hart. For example, you had him at DUI. When you cover someone getting arrested or coming out, you don't know what time they're going to be released, do you? Or you're just waiting out all day with your camera ready?
No, you don't. There are ways to like check in with a. Because all that information is public.
Sure.
That you can look up, like inmates, so that because if people can't access like a family member who's inside, there's a list where you're able to like access.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's their release time or whatever. So there are ways, but generally, no. You're just kind of waiting it out.
See, that's got to be
It
like
can
the worst because it could be hours or it could be, and you have a split second to be a hero or a zero.
Do you have your finger on the record button that whole time, like just ready the second that door opens? You're like, I gotta be there for this.
The correct answer should be yes, but no. I mean, most of the time, I just had it like on in my bag. That's really easy to take out.
Did you ever miss a huge shot and kick yourself for a long time?
Oh
after
yeah.
it? What was that shot?
Robert Downey Jr. was doing jury duty in Santa Monica, and I was second guessing myself because I was kind of like a seasoned vet at this point. So I'm like, oh, he could go out that way. He could go out that way.
Sure.
He goes out the front, and I'm waiting on the side, suspecting he's going to go out there. And as he's going out, and I run up, and I get him last minute getting into his car, but it's like the side of him. You can't really tell it's him. And I had like 30 seconds with him to just he waved to me and everything. And and then when the office found out that I had 30 seconds, they were pretty upset.
Yeah, but there's not. I mean, listen, they could come out any door. It's just you're trying to do the best.
It's a guessing game.
It is a guessing game.
It's more of beating yourself up a little bit for overthinking it. I think there's an element of that.
Do you ever turn it off? Like do you go out to dinner and you see someone and immediately are like, I need to grab a camera, or I need to call someone, let them know they're here?
It's such a good question, because I think that's something that like I'm still kind of getting over. Is not like when you see a celebrity, your instinct is, oh, there's a story on them right now, or oh, they would be good for talking about this, and it's like, wait a second, I'm not reporting to anybody. I don't have to do this. I think that is kind of hard to turn off, but I also think at a certain point, you know when something is important and something isn't. I think early on, it was like everything was like a story in my mind. I wanted to turn everything into a shot. So if I was out to dinner with my friends and I'm off work on a Saturday, I would see like Bruce Willis, be like, you know what? I'm just gonna grab my camera. I'm gonna shoot that.
Who is the celebrity that you run into the most?
Oh my God! I mean, if you're covering Beverly Hills, I'm trying to think. I mean, the person easily like covering Beverly Hills every day, it's like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean,
every day.
Maybe not every day, but they are there like twice a week.
Really?
Oh yeah, they go to lunch together a lot. And like,
are they cool? Are they nice? Or?
Stallone is great. He's always good for a soundbite.
Where are they going? I'm just curious if I ever.
Cafe Roma. Cafe Roma. That's like their spot, and they park like in the back. I'm probably blowing up their spot right now.
Yeah, but can you like approach? Can you get into the back, or is it private?
Yeah, no, it's open. I mean, it's not it's not a private parking lot or anything. You do have to like respect the rules if a security guard comes up to you, but generally, like once they're out of the restaurant, it's open.
Yeah. So I mean, and Stallone, how's Arnold? I've had one incident with Arnold. Not funny, good incident. Arnold was at Nello in New York, and again, he's not one of those guys I can have a full-on interview with on the street. He's Arnold. He's a little old, now. Like, and but he's still round. Everything about him, his hands, like you could just tell this guy was. I mean, he's a scary guy. I don't know.
Do you like how he was the biggest movie star in the entire world there for a while?
I just don't think we're gonna have stars like that ever again. Like you see the newer stars, I'm like Timothée Chalamet. As much as he's a star, he's not Arnold.
He's also not Tom Cruise.
Right.
Like there's people that are just on a whole nother level.
Isn't that what Stallone said about Tobey Maguire back when Spider-Man came out? He said that Tobey Maguire like ruined the action hero. He like ruined the idea because like if anybody like Tobey Maguire can be in an action movie, it kind of ruins that whole brand for them.
I don't think that's fair because Spider-Man is like a dorky, smaller person.
Yeah.
Like he's playing the role that he needed to play. If you had Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Spider-Man, that would have ruined everything. Sure.
I'm just saying in terms of I think that maybe what he meant was like the comic book movie ruined the idea of the typical action movie.
Yeah, but Arnold's coming out of Nello in New York, and I go, Arnold, tell me how I'm looking. Tell me about my poses. Tell me, and I start flexing for him. Like, what do you think, man? I've been hitting the gym hard. What do you think? He goes, flex. And I'm squeezing my bicep. He goes, flex. And I'm squeezing. He goes, flex. And I'm like, I'm squeezing. Check me out. And he goes, work harder. And then he pinches my bicep and goes, work harder. And then keeps walking. I was like, what? That was fun.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, he'll mess with you a little bit, but he doesn't really play ball per se.
Right. He's good for little things like that. Like he might give you a little something. He was when the mask mandates kicked in, he was always good to like say something about the masks.
Oh, really?
But anything else, it was he wouldn't talk.
And Stallone is just cool guy, just like
yes.
But by the way, Arnold and Stallone, do they travel around with security?
No, they actually are just like they'll just.
I was gonna say I've seen just the two of them walking out of stores just together.
It's in New York, dude. They have a lot of security.
Interesting.
Wild.
Maybe people are used to seeing them more here, and that which is weird because I feel like LA is way more celebrity obsessed when you see stars. Like people swarm stars here. I feel more. In New York, it's almost you don't notice people because there's so many people and everyone's just kind of on their own thing doing and don't care.
Yeah, they have like at least I'd say 4 guys each, which is wild for security.
That's
That's a
interesting.
lot of people.
Yeah, no, I would always just see like Stallone with like one dude, but like a local Beverly Hills guy that they have lunch with. You know,
Wild.
not a.
Jesse, who has the biggest like entourage with them or security detail?
Oh my God! I mean, it's
Mayweather
for sure.
Mayweather.
Yeah.
Mayweather's.
Well, I didn't
yeah.
ask you. I asked.
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Never
yeah.
mind.
Well, I'm
I'm
glad
gonna-
you did. 'Cause my first answer was just going to be like most big time rappers, but Mayweather. I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that because I mean, he travels with like, a bunch of dudes wearing TMT hats.
Yeah, Mayweather has a parade wherever he goes. I mean, they're talking about, like, at least in New York, they're talking about 4 cars with the money team written all over it.
I remember when he was down like near Staples one time. You know, the JW Marriott.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
right next to Staples. He was going from like the hotel to Staples. And the crowd of people that was insane around him. And then I realized most of them were with him. Like, it wasn't even fans. It was just his crowd of
Yeah.
people,
Right.
like doing a swarm over.
You're right. And the crazy part, if you're a fan, it's hard even getting close to Floyd because he has so many people. And that security, I'm very cool with his security, but I wasn't always so cool with him. And they're big dudes. And it's like, if you're a big guy, doing security for the best fighter of all time, I'm like, can Floyd, who'd win in a fight? Floyd's bodyguards or his?
You know why though? Because I always ask, I'm like, why does Floyd need bodyguards? Like, he doesn't. But I think that he is a prize to other people. Like, they want to fight him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's got to be protected because people are going to just come up and sucker punch him
Yeah.
in the back of the head, just to be like, I knocked out Floyd Mayweather.
Dude, so Chuck Norris, I wanted to meet Chuck Norris. Like, he's never in New York. He was doing Expendables 2 or something like that. And it's like, oh my God, I'm finally going to meet Chuck Norris. Have you ever met Chuck Norris?
I haven't. No, I haven't had the pleasure.
See,
No.
that's I've
Yeah.
had the pleasure.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris is like one of those guys. It's just like an energy. He's like an energy. Like
He's a meme. I mean, he's
Yeah.
he's a legend.
You
He's
just
a life meme.
You
Yeah.
never see him, but I've always wanted to meet Chuck Norris. And one day he was at Fox News. He's doing the Expendables 2 or something like that, doing some press for it. He came out with, I'm talking about like 10 bodyguards. 10 bodyguards. I'm trying to get to him, like, Chuck. And he just waved to me from a distance and couldn't even get close to him. I go to the bodyguards, like, hey man, why does Chuck have so much security? He goes, you don't understand. People want to beat up Chuck Norris. I go, why would people want to beat up
Just
Chuck
say,
Norris?
I beat up Chuck Norris.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Can you imagine that life? And I'm sure that's what happens with Floyd, where people just say, like, I want to fight Floyd Mayweather. I
I
chumped
took him
him.
down, even
Yeah.
if it was cheap shot. Like, I took him down, whatever.
I get it, but
Well, the interesting thing about Floyd is you said how people have trouble getting close to him. If you tell his bodyguards or whatever that you're TMZ or that you're looking for an interview, like generally they're really cool about it.
they are cooler
Yeah.
You know
now,
what
yes.
though? It's because Floyd understands.
Right.
So he's instructed his team, hey, if I'm gonna have an opportunity, because he's about press, he's about the showy life, and he's like, if there's a camera here, send them my way.
Yeah.
Let's entertain this, and then they can move on back.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a pro.
Smart.
For sure. He's a pro.
This was always my strategy with bodyguards. I never wanted to hide. I'm like, hey man, this is what I'm doing. Like, don't worry about me. Like, don't block me.
That's the best
you know?
strategy.
Like,
Yeah.
you know why I'm here. That guy across the thing, you don't know why he's here. Don't worry about me. I'm doing my job, and I understand you have a job to do, but you don't need to block me. Now, some of them realized it, some of them didn't. And like you said with Floyd Mayweather, I always said to Floyd Mayweather's team, like, they'd be like, hey, man, you could try. Or some days they'd be like, he's in a mood today. I wouldn't go for him. Or some days they're like, hey, you could try if he's not, and they knew me, like, hey, if he wasn't into it, like, I'd walk away, And now I have a relationship with Floyd Mayweather. But I want to get into the Suge Knight. You've had some incidents with Suge Knight. Tell me about some of these experiences you had with him.
I mean, well, the worst one was when he ran over the guy in Compton.
Were you?
I was sent
you went
to
down
sent
there?
to Compton by myself. By myself, and I had to go, and they were like, Harvey, sorry, maybe I don't know if I should talk about, but he wanted me to go and like essentially ring on doorbells and talk to businesses that were right next door, and I was going around trying to get information about what happened. And then
I mean, that was a huge story.
Yeah.
so I was there. I was taking pictures of the tire marks. I was taking pictures of where the car ran over the guy, and basically I was just knocking on doors of the businesses in that area, and essentially I got some information about what happened. But like 2 weeks later, he was in jail, and I had to film him inside of court. Maybe a month later, I don't remember, but direct eye contact when I'm there, giving a media request and filming him inside the courtroom.
And how was he? Was he an intimidating guy? Was he scary? Do you think he was coming at you at
so-
all, or did he try to ever come after you?
Well, no, because prior to that, I got him in Malibu once, and I was a little nervous because he's a legend, but he's also has a history, and I'm me, he's him. Where it's a mismatch. So,
Yeah.
But he was
How so?
super. Just he is a
elaborate.
big dude. I mean, he's a mountain.
He's a massive,
He's a mountain.
massive dude.
Yeah, he's-
Is he that
Yeah.
like size wise?
He's huge.
Yeah. And
Yes. And
tall.
especially, and he's scary.
yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like he's fucking scary, dude.
So was he height wise? How tall would
I
you say he
mean,
was?
I'm like 5'11", and he was like, it felt like a whole foot taller than me. Probably wasn't, but that's just his aura.
But it's not. It's not only the height. It's also
wide.
like he's.
Well, he was a
wide dude.
football
He's
player.
thick.
Yeah.
So like, it's height. It's thickness. Like the whole thing. It's a big package coming at you.
And he was a
Yeah.
football player, if I remember. I'm pretty sure.
So was he ever cool with you?
Yeah.
though?
So I got him in Malibu with like his red truck, and he's smoking. You know, he sees me. I'm like, hey, Snoop. Snoop. Suge, what's up, man? 'Cause I talked about Snoop. And he lights up a cigar when he sees me. He's like, he's ready. He wants to talk. And you know, I guess at the time Kim Kardashian was getting her star on the Walk of Fame. So I'm asking him.
The star.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because I'm asking about something else, and then he changes the subject to, you know, I saw that Kim Kardashian's getting her star on the Walk of Fame. When is Tupac going to get his star on the Walk of Fame? And so that's where the clip went. You know, we started
Yeah.
talking about why Tupac doesn't have a star.
I'm still wondering, does Kim seriously have a star already?
She deserves one.
That might have. I feel like that was
There's
in.
a statue at this point.
Yeah, you can find the clip. For some reason, he brought it up, and yeah. So I mean, I was nervous going into it. By the time I left, I was, you know, that was super cool. He was really nice.
Did you talk to him off camera at all, or was it just like?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the deal with him, is you don't get to just talk to him on camera and then walk away. Like, he's gonna be like, "Yo, this is what he said to me. Don't make me look like a bitch." That's what he said when I turned the camera off.
Shut up.
I'm like,
Eat my ass.
I
Suge.
wouldn't. Yeah. I think I put that in my shoot report that night, and I was like, Suge Knight off camera told me this. Please don't make him look like a bitch.
Because I don't
Yeah,
wanna
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my experience with him, and it was scary, but it was also surprisingly pleasant.
Did you see him the day that the car accident happened?
No, he was already gone.
He was already gone.
Yeah,
He was
like.
in custody at that point.
Yeah, I think at that point I like heard that he was being like not pursued, but there was like a manhunt type of situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who was your worst celebrity encounter?
Oh man,
There's been a lot.
there's been a lot. I mean, like Sean Penn's not cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't like my worst encounter, but it was like, you know, he's not interested. And
Could you here's the thing is like someone like Sean Penn.
Which is weird because I feel like that doesn't fall into our normal category. Like we say a lot of times the biggest celebrities out there are the coolest celebrities because they get it. The Brad Pitt, Angelina, like those people understand. Oprah. Sean Penn, huge star. Not a fan of paparazzi.
yeah, I mean he
won't even entertain.
I remember he like attacked a couple of guys, maybe if I remember correctly. I mean,
him, Woody Harrelson.
yeah.
See, I think it would be fun if you went up to them, not walk up to them with the camera and just be like, "Hey, like, can I talk to you on camera? Like, let's make a fun video. Like, I don't have to ask any serious questions. Like, let's do something fun and funny."
What does he care?
Yeah, I guess, but like change the narrative or just like, no, he just hates it that much.
You know,
he doesn't need to change any narratives.
To be honest, my approach to all of that was always that I don't know how I would feel if I was, you know, somebody just rolled up to me with a camera when I wasn't expecting it. So I never really took it personally when that happened. I didn't I didn't let that like judge. I was thinking a lot about doing this and talking about my stories, and I realized like you really don't want to meet your heroes too often.
Yeah.
Because there's a chance that they're going to disappoint you.
Ruin that allure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of fair. I think that, you know, they're just people who are, you know, trying to go about their day, but also at the same time public figures. And
Just want to let you guys know, Pink has never let me down.
Pink's
Just letting you know.
Pink's really cool.
Yeah,
She's really nice.
So say it again, louder.
Pink is the best.
Put that in the world.
We want that to be in the promo.
Yeah.
Clip
Tag
that.
Pink on that one.
Clip it.
Yeah. So Pink is one of the coolest ones.
She's really
or-
cool. I mean, I got her in Malibu once, and she was, you know, walking in with who's that skater guy that she was with? Carrie Hart.
Her husband?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her husband of like.
Clearly,
20
yeah.
years?
You might have fell off.
Yeah, okay, all right. There's a lot of celebrities out there. So they walked in together, and I wasn't this like amazing clip or anything, but I think I had gotten it mixed up on her Wikipedia page that it was her birthday like the day before, and it wasn't even close, and they were like making fun of me for it, and probably how I didn't know that she was married to a skateboarder for 20 years.
Or BMXer,
Probably, yeah. So
BMXer,
right, yeah.
motocross.
BMXer, that's what it was.
So
Yeah.
Sean Penn, but is there someone else that you'd say from like who was just you just didn't vibe well with? Like Sean Penn for me, Alec Baldwin, obviously in New York.
Baldwin's tough for sure.
Yeah.
Baldwin, I tried a few times. I gave up on
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin. Nowadays, I'd be interested, but
Sure.
But really, would you? Because I feel like he's so volatile right now.
He
like,
is.
It's not even worth it.
Or he might need to
Well, I
change his
wasn't-
tone a little
didn't
bit.
he do an interview with some paps like after it happened?
He stood on the
Yeah.
side of the road
Yeah.
and did an interview while his wife bitched him out the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
It was-
rare though that he would do that. I mean, maybe he
correct.
Yeah, maybe he felt the need to do so, but that was like
He basically said,
Yeah.
"I'm going to do this right now. Now leave me alone.
right.
Leave me alone."
Yeah. Generally, like I was really interested when celebrities were really cool at first. Like Bradley Cooper was like just the
When he
sweetest guy in
when
the
he
world.
wasn't as famous.
When The Hangover first came out, coolest guy in the world. Like
Would talk to you on
I
camera?
interviewed him like 10 times at the airport because he was doing so much press for The Hangover. He would come back and forth and back and forth. So I shot him
Yeah.
like 8 or 9 times in the span of like a month, and so we kind of developed a little bit of a rapport. I don't want to say we were friends, but we were best friends.
Yeah.
And then he got really famous, and maybe like 3 months later I get him again, and it was just
Was there
Wow.
it was
anyone
done.
that,
It was over.
that you saw so much at the airport that you even just gave up filming them because you're like, I don't even care anymore?
100%. I would get mad when they would just like send me the same name over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, how many times am I going to ask this person,
I
like,
was
come
like-
up with something for this guy? I mean, I'm running out of material, 'cause
Yeah. Al Sharpton. I was like, how many times
Yeah.
am I going to interview Al Sharpton?
we have certain sources at the airport and certain
Yeah.
parts of the airport that we were wired in, and I think you get a lot of the same people over and over again. I don't want to. It's the
So-
same thing as being in, like, I don't know, Studio City. I would see Pete Wentz all the time. I don't want to shoot Pete Wentz every
Yeah.
single day. I don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
keep bugging the guy.
Who is your favorite celebrity encounters? Did you have one where it was like, man, like you actually got to become friends with some of them at all?
Well,
or?
Nick Cage is probably my favorite celebrity encounter.
Yeah.
But in terms of like memorable ones, where I mean, this is sort of like a throwback. Sean William Scott was like the coolest guy in the world.
Really?
Stifler from American Pie, and he didn't want to be on camera because I was filming him when he was smoking a cigarette. But then so I put the camera down. We're talking, and I was just like, I stood outside with him for like 45 minutes talking just about life, and he was like the coolest guy in the world. Just didn't want to be on camera, but he wanted to talk to me afterwards.
Yeah. Wait,
Which was
so
interesting.
He just wanted to be on camera smoking a cigarette, or he just
Yeah,
wanted
I
to be on
think-
camera in general.
I
And then you were like getting weird, like, hey, we're
Well,
talking. Don't worry about
So
it.
I think I sort of figured out as it went on that it was just he didn't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
But super cool, and like we just like shared each had a cigarette, and we're talking outside of LAX for like an hour before his flight. And
Yeah.
we're talking about he was talking about how he wanted to like set up something with me in like Malibu where he's like doing snow angels in the sand, and then nothing ever came of it.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
Did you ever like meet someone besides him that actually turned into a friendship? Like, is there anyone that you actually became
Yeah.
friends with in the industry?
for sure, I mean, there are people that I still talk to. I mean,
Who's in your phone, bro?
this is a real funny one. Red Foo from LMFAO.
oh, nice guy. Yeah,
That
yeah,
guy
yeah.
used to walk down
Yeah.
Hollywood Boulevard
What happened
every
to
day.
him? Is he still-
Every day. Like, I'd leave the TMZ office when we were up on
Yeah,
Sunset,
yeah.
and I would like drive down.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's Red Foo. Just
Yeah.
walking down the street again in his crazy pants and his hair all wild.
Right.
Yeah.
He was like a guy I could just like text, be like, "Hey man, I'm looking. I need a shot. Like, are you doing anything?" And he would just be like, "Yeah, meet me at the Coffee Bean or whatever."
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
super cool. He invited me to his house party once, where he, DJs for all the people. I mean, I'm not.
He had a lot of big parties there when
It was fun.
when they were on top of the world.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
had
it was
a
fun.
lot of people coming to his party.
Where
I went to a few
whatever
of those.
happened to him?
LMFAO just kind of
Yeah.
fell off.
Everyone stopped shuffling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think like where they are now. They performed at the Super Bowl with Madonna.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And now Red Foo's working at Coffee
I
Bean
know,
that they
yeah.
filmed him at.
I know.
yeah. Well, you know what's so
I'll
funny?
take blame for that.
You talk about like trying to become friends with celebrities. I remember Paul Walker at the airport.
Nicest guy,
Super
dude.
Nicest
So
guy.
nice.
Paul Walker was the coolest guy, and all of a sudden, vibed with him. He was just great. We became cool, and like, I don't know. At the airport, he was like, he didn't want to talk, but he's like, he's like, what are you doing tonight? Like, let's come. Why don't you come out and have a drink tonight? Like, and I was like, we were just like, I think I gave him my number, and then it was maybe like 10 days later. Like, I thought like we actually had like a really good conversation. The nicest dude, so chill. Unfortunately, he had a bad accident, and just like that.
Wow,
and,
that
like,
was 10 days
that was like
before.
10 days before, roughly.
That like really actually, I wasn't like a big fan of his movies, but it was just from my experience with him on the job. That like really affected me when that happened.
Yeah.
Same here.
Because-
I don't know why. Like, I don't get
Yeah.
affected by a lot of celebrity death.
Yeah.
Just because covering it for so long.
Yeah.
That
Well-
one was like extremely painful.
It hurt. It was because he was so nice to me. Like anytime I talked to him, I was like, that was a genuinely good person.
There was
Yeah.
3 celebrity deaths that really hurt me. One was Paul Walker. Number 2, Joan Rivers.
Oh, yeah.
Because Joan was the best. And number 3 was Robin Williams. Because, again, he was fantastic, too.
Well, that was just tragic.
Yeah, that was just...
That one, because that's like childhood, right?
That was childhood, but he was also one of those guys where, like, if you saw Robin, like, he was, like, great. Like, he'd go, like, can I help you? Like, he would go out his way. He knew you were doing a job, so he would, like, come to you, give you, like, a minute of his time. Like, he was just great. Like, he knew you were trying to eat, and, like, he would make it fun, and he was great. And then Joan Rivers was amazing, incredible. So those 3, like, was like, man, like, I felt like at Joan, I was like, man, I'm surprised I'm not going to the, like, as a guest, like, because she was, like,
I felt that way about Norm Macdonald. He was always really cool with us, but also just, such a legend. But being an LA guy, I mean, growing up here and being a Laker fan, a Dodger fan, I mean, when Kobe died, it was like a plane crashed in my house. It was just a nightmare.
All of California.
Yeah.
Like, there was just, you felt
it's something
everywhere you
for
went.
LA people that, like, everybody felt it, but for LA people, it was like losing a kid or something,
My big other one was Vern Troyer. Like, I was buddies with Vern Troyer.
Were you?
Yeah, he came into the office, if I remember correctly,
when
right?
he passed, that was a tough one.
Yeah, that's tough.
man, that's why. How did you see the paparazzi? Because when you started doing it, it was a crazy time. Roughly, I think you said 2008.
Yeah, that was like during the Britney like
when she
meltdown.
shaved her head.
Yeah.
Like you started a crazy time.
Sorry, what? I don't remember that.
Right, yeah. Oh, my God. It was like,
Yeah.
I mean, that was the gold rush is what they call it for the paparazzi. I mean, that was the
Sure,
paparazzi gold rush.
They made a lot of money. Guys
that's
are
the
still
nickname
like
for it, yeah.
they made so much money. Like they didn't really.
Guys-
some of them didn't have to work anymore.
Well, guys should have retired off of that, but I think that they spent a little too much
But they
money on
also,
their...
It lured them in thinking this is what it's always
Yeah,
going to
and
be.
it wasn't.
Yeah, true.
That was very few stories are like that in the industry that are just like...
No, there's never been a time like 2007.
Yeah.
Like we still talk about it to this day. The Paris, Britney, Lindsay, trifecta, all the shit that was just happening in Hollywood all at the same time. There's never gonna be a time like that again.
And I came along at the end of it, so I was there like it was at the tail end of it all. So I got a small taste of it, but it was so crazy. Really the craziest thing I ever covered, I think hands down, was when Chris Brown hit Rihanna. That was like one of the craziest nights. I mean, covering Cedars-Sinai Medical Hospital, all the news vans are there trying to get a shot of Rihanna coming out.
I think one of my craziest was just Michael Jackson's death.
Oh, and that. Well, yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
I guess the Michael Jackson death. Whitney Houston too.
Because they sent me down to cover it and do like live interviews with, I think it was like HLN or something.
Yeah.
Outside the house the night of, and then like the following night. So I just had to keep going down and filming all the stuff, and I mean it was chaotic.
I was at the airport when it happened, and they called me and they sent me to an office of a female. She was a doctor who had given him like some sort of medicine, some sort of treatments, and I had to go and they let me into her office, and I'm live streaming an interview with her back to the office about, did you ever administer Michael propofol? Did you ever administer anesthesia? All that stuff. And that went on for like weeks. I mean, just every day.
It was nonstop.
Yeah.
There was a Michael story on TMZ every day for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Because the story had so many angles and people and all of this that every day there was a new story.
And then once the Conrad Murray stuff came in, it was like, everything changed.
And
at
that
point.
guy,
I know.
he was soaking up
He was.
everything.
Yeah, it was
Like, He
weird.
was doing setup photo shoots at the grave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Outside, him crying outside Michael's tomb. And I'm like, bro, go disappear. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Actually, I want to
was-
ask you about set of paparazzi
was crazy.
shots. Did you do a lot of like not you, but do you see a lot of in LA a lot of set of paparazzi shots?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were turning towards Dax.
No, I was just looking at that.
I mean, I think that's the dirty little secret of the industry is, celebrities will. I can't tell you how many times I've had like a shot where like, hey, the Kardashians are going to be here. They know you're going to be there. You get there, and then they like cover up or don't talk to you. And it's like, they called us. They set this
But
up.
don't you think that's part of their shtick?
It is 100%.
To number one, Kim never talks.
Right.
Yet she's still one of the most photographed, videographed people in the world. She never talks, and it's just, I'm gonna walk out, I'm gonna look pretty, I'm gonna be me, and yet everyone still covers her.
I did get her talking once about the Armenian genocide. I think that was like, and that one was went
Smart's
everywhere.
talking point with her, by the
Yeah,
way.
it went everywhere. I think it was like past my shift, and she was at Casa Vega in the Valley, and it was like a late night tip. and I was
Yeah.
the only one nearby, and I went and got it, and so that was like one of the few times where she
'Cause
actually.
she would actually look like a total bitch if she walked by and didn't
Right.
talk about it.
Yeah.
So, smart move on bringing up that topic.
Well, I think it
Yeah.
might have been recommended by the office, but I'll take the credit for it. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, I think that's like I said, the dirty secret of the industry. I think is so much of it is in the hands of publicists, and I think that maybe might be what the public doesn't get about it, is that this is like some of these companies that run like pap video or photos are the same people that pay the paychecks of some of these big name celebrities that are complaining about the paparazzi.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of tied together in some way, and I think yes, I think I would say maybe like 25%, 20% of it, there's a setup element of it.
Did you ever go to a celebrity's home? Like, did you ever?
Yeah, I went to a few. I was doing for south of Wilshire. I was doing. We had to go to some celebrity houses.
that was cool. That
Caesar
was cool.
Milan's house. I went there.
Yeah.
I went to. I think I set up Red Foo for that.
You did.
I texted him. He did it. We went to a few houses.
Yeah. Who do you? But did you ever work at someone's house, like wait for them to leave their door and do that kind of stuff?
No, I mean we didn't do like. You mean like doorstepping?
It's funny they call it doorstepping here.
TMZ doesn't.
We didn't do that.
I didn't know if you did that.
I didn't want to.
TMZ
To be honest,
doorstepping.
I'll be honest. I sort of made a point that I wasn't going to do stuff like that, and luckily they were totally fine with it, and that was never an issue. They don't even do it, so like don't follow, don't doorstep, and I appreciated that. But in terms of going to somebody's house, Prince Von A-hole, when Zsa Zsa Gabor died,
Oh, yeah.
we had to go to his
I
house.
laugh at Dax loves that
I,
guy.
I laughed because we gave him the title Prince Von A-hole.
Right.
Like it's on Holt or something.
Right,
like
it's
that.
on Holt,
We
yeah.
changed it to A-hole.
So we had to go to his house when Zsa Zsa died, and there was like a whole media event, live streams out right out on the front
Well,
porch.
We went to his house numerous times. Like it was her birthday, like her 100th birthday.
She wouldn't come out, right?
Dude, I have my own theories.
Yeah.
That I don't know if she was even around
Right.
for half of the time that people said she was around.
Maybe he had to announce it just because somebody was catching on or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was like a whole thing. And I'm talking, it was like he was talking to the media for 30, 40 minutes while we're live streaming and before they even got to my questions. And so I had to just yell over these German reporters who were there, to ask my questions. But that was one of the more bizarre experiences at a celebrity home that I can think of.
He's bizarre.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic. That guy is
So-
on another planet.
My last thing for you is like we see now, at least I see now, running around L.A. You think you're gonna see all these celebrities, and I haven't really seen that many celebrities.
You just gotta know where to go, dude.
But
networked, bro.
I'm not networked. But you do see these social media stars everywhere.
Yeah.
Is it crazy seeing these social media stars? How are they? We see the Bryce Halls, the Josh Richards, and these TikTok stars. How is it with these TikTok stars? Are they cool? Do you see them lasting or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Because you're part of the reason, paparazzis are part of the reason why these people are kind of becoming popular.
Right.
So,
No. What are you
Oh, yeah.
talking about?
yes, 1,000%. They're
No,
putting them on
these
YouTube.
They're putting themselves on YouTube.
They are putting them out, but then the
and they're
Hollywood.
getting big, and then yes, paparazzi are now finding them interesting.
so I
but
think-
paparazzi are not the
okay,
ones
so
making them.
I think what Adam,
famous.
I agree with you. I think what Adam's point is that Paps have
making them more mainstream.
Paps have
maybe.
started targeting them as a priority because YouTube revenue will go up.
They're
from-
following.
yeah,
They've got a more.
the algorithm
base
is
is bigger.
better for those sorts
Correct.
of celebrities
Yes.
because kids are interested.
Sure.
In it. But yeah, I mean, it's so funny because at the end of it, I didn't know who any of these people were. It was hard. It's hard for me sometimes to follow some of the stuff that we're following because I wasn't interested
It's
in
a
it.
hard sell too.
Yeah.
To a lot of the websites is, hey, before Bryce Hall really started popping, people didn't know who he was, even though he had a YouTube following of millions of people. The sell of, hey, I have this famous YouTuber. A lot of the websites are like, nope.
Yeah.
Moving on. So you have to get that crossover first for them to be interesting enough for the website.
They have to break in with some sort of a story. Like,
there has to be a scandal.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
Has to be a Jake Paul scandal,
Right.
or there has to be Bryce Hall scandal, or Jeffree Star hit scandal. Like
Yeah.
something has to happen first.
Yeah, I mean, I started to see that towards the end of my tenure. Like, I covered that boxing event. Who was Bryce Hall boxing? Austin McBroom.
Oh, yeah.
And they staged a whole fight, for the media and stuff. And film. I'm like, who cares? There's YouTubers that are boxing, but I'm talking like Showtime was there.
Yeah.
It was. I couldn't. I mean, kudos to them for the network that they
everyone
do.
saw money.
Yeah.
All these people
So-
bring in massive audiences that are beyond their normal viewership. Like, this is what I think is wild. People produce TV shows that, get 2 million views, and they're like, woo, we got 2 million views on our TV show. Bryce Hall puts up one video and gets 50 million views
Right.
on it. Like, that is fucking power in this
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah, and that's why it's all transitioning in that direction.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
Listen, Jesse, I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah,
I
dude.
appreciate your stories. You're an OG of this. Jesse's been doing this longer than I have, and we talk on the phone and we share each other's stories. And it's very comforting for me to hear those stories. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Make sure you find Jesse on Instagram and keep up with him.
What's your handle?
it's Jesse J Rowe.
Jesse
Yeah, it's
J.
very
Rowe.
easy.
But Jesse's got great stories, and I don't know. We'll see if this is the end of Jesse's reign. Right now, he's on retirement. He's enjoying their retired life.
We're just going to call it
But-
a sabbatical.
Yeah. Adam, I was
Maybe
playing
he'll be back.
tennis in Malibu the other day. He's like, "Oh, so you're really retired?" It was like a Monday. And I'm like,
God, you go to Malibu? I fucking hate driving now. That's so
a
far
buddy
out
of mine
there.
lives up there, so
Oh,
yeah,
so
But it's
I know
so
it is.
beautiful too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
If you live out there
Right.
and do the drive once. No, it was awesome. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you guys so
dude.
much. Appreciate it.
We don't get together a lot.
Yeah, we know
so
we
it's
did.
kind of fun to have all of us in one place, even though maybe the video doesn't look like it. But we are all.
Yes, I
in
can
one
reach
place.
out and touch them. Yeah,
And Adam likes that.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
But thank you guys for listening. Make sure you follow the Hollywood Raw podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. We're on it all. If you want celebrity content that you can't find anywhere else, it's on our YouTube and Instagram and on TikTok. We have celebrity paparazzi content from LA, New York, overseas,
The
Miami.
world, dude.
It's all
Anywhere
over.
there's good stuff, we're gonna post about it.
It's really cool. And guys, leave a review. Say a few kind words. It helps us out with the algorithm. And you can find me at Adam Glyn, Glyn. You can find Dax Holt at DaxHolt. We'll see you guys later.
We out.
Guys, hope you liked that video. We got a lot more where that came from.
Hit that bell, like, subscribe, share with a friend. The best thing you do to support us is really doing that. And we really need the money because we need hair gel.